positive phase in our journey. And I would like to singularly bring out that this is the biggest advantage the Navy has as of today. As you would see that the ship Nilgiri has been built in Garden Reach shipyard. The ship adjacent has been built in Mazgon Dock shipyard. The Cochin shipyard, if I may speak of, where INS Vikrant has been built. So multiple capabilities in the maritime domain is the defining thing that we need to be extremely proud of. The fact that we are largely indigenous force and will be able to independently sustain extended and prolonged operations at sea in the future on our own capability is the biggest positive which the Indian Navy has today, and I personally feel really proud of it, and being a commissioning commanding officer of a indigenously built frigate with such huge capability is the singular honor and proud feeling that brings to me, and that's what I would say is the defining thing that the Indian Navy showcases and projects all across, other than for the fact that we have always been the first responders and always been there for our partnering nations and friendly foreign countries in our neighborhood. But we assure them of secure waters and safe seas all around the Indian Ocean region in the years to come.
Absolutely. Captain Su, thank you very much for joining us. It was lovely having you with us. You took time out for us despite your busy schedule and the exercise going on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा।
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा।
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going, Vinod Khosla has made a comment which has created further.
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going, Vinod Khosla has made a comment which has created further panic in a panic-stricken environment. In my view, not necessary. He's a well-known tech billionaire and venture capitalist. He says IT and BPO services will completely disappear over the next 5 years. And then he says something.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hi there, good evening. Hope you had a great Sunday. Welcome to this week's edition of Looking Forward, the show that looks forward to news and events happening over the coming days and weeks. Stories that are shaping up and are going to make an impact to your life and mine. So let's get going. The air is thick with the scent of war in the Middle East or West Asia. The United States has mobilized its biggest war machine since the Iraq War. All guns aim at Iran. This coming week and fortnight is crucial. In story number 1, we look at Trump's game plan for Tehran. Would the war break out, or both sides pull back from the brink and strike a nuclear deal? Story number 2 is from the world of domestic politics. After making the Congress wait for long, the DMK is opening talks window this week for seat sharing. Tamil Nadu politics is in for a churn. Would Congress eat the cake or eat crow? That's our focus. Next, for story number 3, we take to skies as the Indian Air Force showcases its might in biggest mobilization yet as part of exercise Vayu Shakti over Rajasthan. Then we dip into foreign policy again for story number 4 as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced PM Modi's visit to Tel Aviv in a cabinet meeting in Jerusalem just an hour back. And finally, story number 5 on the topsy-turvy world of India-US trade talks. A team was to travel to Washington, D.C. this week, Tuesday in fact, but has postponed the visit pending clarity on the Supreme Court ruling that came Friday. Let me get you the headlines first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to land in Israel on Wednesday for a landmark standalone visit, his first in nearly 8 years. At a cabinet meeting in Jerusalem today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu himself announced the details, including an address by PM Modi of the Israeli Knesset. Netanyahu also talked about a hexagon of alliances within the Middle East with India as a key partner. In a major success for security forces, 3 terrorists, including Jaish commander Saifullah, neutralized in anti-terror operations in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar. Security forces, including the Army, Jammu and Kashmir Police and paramilitary units, launched a search operation early morning following specific intelligence inputs about the presence of militants in the dense forest belt of the Pasarkut Chatru area. An FIR has been lodged in Prayagraj against Swami Avimukteswaranand Saraswati and his disciple Mukundanand Brahmachari over allegations of sexual abuse of 2 persons, including a minor, over the past year. The action was taken on Saturday after an order passed earlier in the day by the POCSO court in Prayagraj, which directed that a case be registered against Avimukteswaranand based on an application moved by Ashutosh Brahmachari Maharaj and others. In a multi-state crackdown on terror, 8 suspects have been arrested from West Bengal and Tamil Nadu by the Delhi police. 6 of them are Bangladeshi nationals. The suspects are linked to a terror module operating under the guidance of Pakistan's ISI and Lashkar-e-Taiba. The group was allegedly planning to carry out attacks across India with religious sites in the capital city on their target. 4 suspects had even traveled to the capital ahead of the AI summit. They pasted anti-India posters near metro stations. Were they trying to target India's image during AI summit? In a major boost to regional connectivity across Delhi NCR, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated Namo Bharat Rapid Rail and the Meerut Metro route from Meerut. Prime Minister described the project as a new surge of energy for a Viksit Uttar Pradesh and Viksit Bharat. While hailing development of the BJP government in Uttar Pradesh, the Prime Minister also slammed the Congress for its sabotage attempt at the AI summit. He called out the Grand Old Party for turning a global event into a battlefield for their dirty and naked politics. Welcome back, friends. Tensions between the United States and Iran have surged to their highest level in years, with a 10-day ultimatum by President Donald Trump looming. The US is considering a limited military strike while Iran prepares a counter option. Diplomacy is struggling with both sides stuck on core demands. The US insists on zero uranium enrichment while Iran calls it a sovereign right. The Middle East is on the edge, with the Strait of Hormuz a potential flashpoint. India's interests are at risk, with possible impact on oil prices and stability in the Gulf. Let's get granular with what's happening in West Asia with this report.
I'm not going to talk to you about that, but we're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
And you said today 10 days. Have you given them a deadline firm to make a deal?
I would think that would be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
A narrow window for peace and a widening path to war. In the last 24 hours, tensions between Washington and Tehran have surged to their highest level in years, as Donald Trump confirmed he is considering limited military strikes against Iran. A 10-day ultimatum now looms, and the Middle East is holding its breath.
The U.S. right now is building up a very impressive military armada, and it's meant to send a very clear message to Iran and its government that the U.S. is not, or at least the Trump administration, is not going to spend years and years negotiating to get a deal that the Trump administration would say is not very good. They want to put pressure on Iran to say, you need to make a deal now. And there is some reporting emerging over the last few hours that there might be some outlines of a deal coming forward. But the military pressure is designed to make sure that Iran doesn't play the game that it is accused of over the last many decades of stringing out negotiations to sort of an endless degree, so that no deal ever comes, or at least it wears down the opposition to get a deal that is much more beneficial to Iran.
Despite the drumbeats of war, a narrow window for diplomacy remains. Tehran is drafting a formal counterproposal expected within the next 48 to 72 hours, aimed at breaking the deadlock. However, with the US demanding zero enrichment and Israel moving toward active joint strike planning, diplomats across Europe and the Gulf warn that the region is sliding toward a conflict not seen since 2003.
The military buildup by the United States in the region is really intense. It has deployed aircraft carrier strike groups in the Persian Gulf, and fighter jets are ready. And I think that the United States aims and intends to carry out a large-scale operation against Iran, unlike the 12-day war with Israel. In that war, the United States only targeted Fordo nuclear site and took part late in those days of war. But this time, I think it intends to carry out operations against Iranian military targets as well as political leadership, and Trump had threatened many times to target Iranian interests as well as Iran's supreme leader.
The world's largest aircraft carrier, USS Gerald R. Ford, has been spotted transiting the Strait of Gibraltar, heading toward the Middle East, part of the largest US military buildup in the region in decades. Aircraft carriers, warships, jets, all moving into position. Even as forces mobilize, diplomacy is struggling to survive.
See, this situation which is developing in the Middle East or West Asia, as you may call it, this situation is very volatile, because right now, whenever you see such a massive concentration of force, and you can imagine when two aircraft carriers are there and a carrier strike groups are operating in this area with a huge complement of warships, and more than 250 aircrafts are there in this region, as well as in Diego Garcia, the B-2 and B-52 bombers have been deployed, and Tomahawk missiles have been armed right now. The submarines are in place, the nuclear submarine is also there. So we see a very serious warlike situation. Much depends upon the talks which are going on with Iran and the United States.
Iran says it is preparing a formal counter-proposal expected within the next 48 to 72 hours in a last-ditch attempt to break the deadlock. But talks have stalled on core demands. Washington insists on zero uranium enrichment, while Tehran calls enrichment and missile development non-negotiable sovereign rights. Both sides sticking to their red lines.
And I believe, American economy doesn't permit to go in for a long haul or long war. I don't think, that is... American is still negotiating with Iran. Let's hope, something comes out, some negotiated settlement comes out. Iranians have also submitted a proposal which dealing with the concerns of the American administration. So let's wait and see what happens,
Behind the scenes, Israel is watching closely. Israeli officials believe the gap between the US and Iran is unbridgeable and are preparing for possible joint military action with Washington. If it happens, it would mark the second US-Israeli strike on Iran in less than a year. Iran is not backing down. President Masoud Pezeshkian says Iran will not bow to external pressure, warning that any attack will be met with retaliation against US bases across the region. Tehran has also taken a dramatic step, branding the naval and air forces of European Union states as terrorist organizations, after Europe designated Iran's Revolutionary Guards the same.
Well, the European position has been made up of negativity, complacency, and passivity. Europe has for many decades now been very passive in the face of different threats that it has faced. And in large part, it has taken 4 years of war in Ukraine to make it aware that there are serious possibilities of conflict even in its own backyard. And so Europe has been very adept at talking problems to death and trying to resolve it through ultra long-term diplomacy. And so Europe is looking at the Iranian issue through that lens of passivity and attempting to resolve it through conversations. I really don't think that they see the Iranian issue as something that is a real threat. I don't think that they perceive it as an existential crisis. They also look at it through the lens of complacency, again, through that lens of not seeing the Iranian threat as a threat. I don't think that they have truly seen the consequences and the possibilities of a nuclear Iran. And so they're not willing to take very strong assertive efforts in order to address it. They do believe that it's a matter of diplomacy. But also, they see it as through the lens of negativity, and that is really a very reflexive attitude towards Donald Trump. Europe was fine and okay with working with the Obama administration during those years and during the years of developing the JCPOA. And they had a large amount of cooperation with Obama because he was very European in his outlook and his approach to resolving conflict. Yeah, when it comes to Donald Trump, certainly he has created a lot of negative feelings and a lot of negative a very negative work environment for them. And so I think some of their denial of basing rights and other actions comes from a basic rejection of Trump himself. They just simply don't want to cooperate on anything that is important to Donald Trump, and that is a very unfortunate setback, and it is why it's important to maintain good international relations, especially in a crisis mode like this.
The confrontation is widening. The Strait of Hormuz, the route for a fifth of global oil, could become a flashpoint.
The impact on the whole region will be really significant because Iran has warned for many times that any attack against its sovereign territory or leadership will be costly for the United States and its allies. So Iran has many options at hand, and this may include targeting the US bases in the region with surprise, like the previous times, attacking US assets in the region, also by the help of allies in the region, for example by the Lebanese Hezbollah or Yemenis. It may target economic infrastructure in the region, and this will be really costly for not just Iran but all the entire nations of the region. There is another option on hand for Iran, and that is closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and that can be conducted by mining the strait and targeting any ship passing by.
Experts say that the oil-producing Gulf countries are preparing for a possible military confrontation that they fear could spin out of control and destabilize the Middle East.
There is a move now by Iran, and it has threatened to blockade this Strait of Hormuz because it is largely an area in which oil supplies are flowing through. So the impact of India will be that in case this Strait of Hormuz has been blocked, there will be a surge in the oil prices, a surge in the transportation cost, a surge in the insurance cost, as well as a rise of inflation in all those countries which are going to be affected by the movement of the energy resources. A second important aspect here is that for how long can this Strait of Hormuz be blocked? Because in my assessment, it will be only a temporary kind of a situation, because in case the United States decides to reopen this Strait of Hormuz, even if mines have been laid down by the Iranians, I think they'll be able to do that. So I think this is a short-term kind of a strategy which Iran has to disrupt the traffic in this area.
2 rounds of Iran-US talks have stalled on core issues, from uranium enrichment to missiles and sanctions relief. Reportedly, when Omani mediators delivered an envelope from the US side containing missile-related proposals, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi refused even to open it and returned it.
The US doesn't want to get into a war-like situation, because if you look at the objective, what is the political objective or the political aim of Donald Trump? A political aim is a regime change. He will not be able to carry out this regime change even if he launches airstrikes here. So that part of the aim is lost. There would be drone strikes from within Iran, because try to understand here, there are a large number of Jew population within Iran, and they are a source of intelligence which Mossad and CIA have been using over a period of time. So I foresee that an attempt will be made by the US, in case negotiations don't fructify, to target the political leadership. The IRGC headquarters and the leadership, the air defense centers, the command control centers. So I visualize this kind of strategy being orchestrated by the United States Armed Forces.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is due to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on 28th of February to discuss Iran. A senior US official said it would be mid-March before all US forces were in place. But the question remains, what is the end game? Is Washington aiming to cripple Iran's nuclear program to deter future threats, or to push for something far more ambitious, a regime change? The core US demand remains unchanged: no uranium enrichment on Iranian soil. Iran, for its part, says it must keep its nuclear capability and refuses to discuss its ballistic missiles. It denies planning to build a nuclear weapons arsenal.
Well, it's not according to me. It's according to what the US and the Iranians want. The US, sort of at its baseline, wants Iran's nuclear program controlled. They want it into a position where it cannot become a weapons program. There doesn't seem to be any objection by the United States or other nations to nuclear power being in the country. But it's any program that can potentially develop nuclear weapons, and then also the vehicles to deliver those, is just going to be unacceptable not only to the United States, but many of its regional allies and partners. So there's a framework in which a deal like that could emerge. How that is going to happen remains to be seen.
With Iran's leadership under Ayatollah Ali Khamenei showing resilience, even allies question whether strikes can alter Tehran's course. These growing geopolitical tensions far away from India can also impact our homes and our pockets.
It will be only a temporary kind of a situation, because in case the United States decides to reopen this Strait of Hormuz, even if mines have been laid down by the Iranians, I think they'll be able to do that. So I think this is a short-term kind of a strategy which Iran has to disrupt the traffic in this area, and it won't have very great effects in my assessment, because enough of reserves are there. And even if you see UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, which will get affected, by this route blockage, but they have inbuilt reserves available in their own country to sustain this thing. So I think it will be a temporary setback. It won't be a permanent setback.
It will have huge impact on India for two reasons. One, oil prices will go up. And we import almost 85% to 90% oil from outside the countries, and mostly the oil comes from Persian Gulf region, that is from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman. These are the areas. It will have direct impact on our budget, revenues, and secondly, because our 1 million, no, not 1 million, sorry, 10 million Indians are working in the Gulf region, in all these countries, and they send around 30 to 40 billion dollar annually as remittances. Then we have a bilateral trade with these countries about 150 to 200 billion dollar. Investments, are also coming from this region to India. Saudi Arabia has already promised that would invest $100 billion in next few years. And so is Qatar, so is UAE, all these places. If the war, there are chances that the war might spread into the region. Iranians have made it categorically clear that if they are attacked, they will also attack American bases or try to disrupt oil supplies. So these are the two things, and they have the capability, they can do it, So that is a problem. So therefore, India's interest is, peace and stability. India wants peace and stability to be maintained in this region.
For now, the clock is ticking. Military forces are moving. Red lines are hardening between Iran and the United States.
All right, moving on the 27th of February, the skies over Pokhran in Rajasthan will thunder with precision and power. Indian Air Force's exercise Vayu Shakti 2026 is not just another military drill. It is going to be the most definitive display of combat readiness, integration and indigenous capability. From Rafales to Tejas, from long-range precision strikes to integrated air defense suppression, this exercise comes at a crucial geopolitical moment, the first major showcase after Operation Sindoor. With global partners watching and adversaries assessing, Vayu Shakti is display of lean, mean war machine raring to have a go. Enemy would read deterrence, our forces would see self-reliance, and world would watch IAF's decisive capability.
Just last week, Indian Air Force showcased its war machine on the Eastern Front. And now it's time to move the Western frontier. Exercise Vayu Shakti 2026, Indian Air Force's spectacular testament of its roar of strength and precision, is panning out this week. On 27th of February, India's air warriors will present a compelling narrative of the operational readiness at the vast Pokhran air-to-ground range in Rajasthan's Jaisalmer.
Vayu Shakti 2026 is the Indian Air Force premier fire past demonstration. And it shapes into a very massive show of strength. And it is going to, this year, it is going to start on 27th Feb, and rehearsal will be on 24th at famous Pokhran air-to-ground range in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. Now, why it is so important, and why people look for this? Actually, this is a live fire display of the IF's combat capabilities, and how we are planning our preparedness, how we are achieving this. This is a part of the basic center is that. Now, what are the objectives? The first thing is this exercise showcases the operational readiness of Indian Air Force. How we will conduct the full spectrum of operations, including day, night, and dusk missions, because timing of the demonstration is planned in such a way. It starts evening hours and it flows into during night time.
More than a demonstration of hardware and ordnance, it would be a carefully choreographed display of doctrine, integration, and human skill. The motive of this exercise is not only showcase Indian Air Force's combat readiness, but also to inspire India's youth. On the face of it, an annual feature, the practice is integral to not only test Indian Air Force's firepower capabilities, but also send across a message.
There will be a certain amount of apprehension in Pakistan, because after all, let us not forget, there is a pause on as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. And the Pakistanis, I would imagine that with such a large-scale exercise taking place on the Pakistani borders, the Pakistan Air Force and the entire Pakistan Armed Forces would be on a very high alert, lest some surprises pulled on them. I think they would also be watching this exercise very carefully because they would want to see what are the new kind of tactics that the Indian Air Force is likely to deploy in future conflicts. And let's make no mistake about it, they would also be trying to look at what are the kind of countermeasures they can take. They will try and monitor every aspect of this particular exercise. But I would imagine there would be a lot of apprehension that there is nothing untoward which takes place at the time of this exercise. No surprise is pulled over them. They would certainly be looking at that.
Vayu Shakti would also showcase India's technological superiority over Pakistan.
Pakistan is the one thing he has got only Chinese equipments, whether the air defense equipments or the aircrafts or the radars, all of the Chinese. Chinese origin aircrafts are basically developed on the reverse engineering basis. They never had an independent thinking and something coming up new. So now their capabilities have already been tested during Operation Sindoor. And whole world knows equipments what China claims. They are not, that capability is not that much, and they cannot produce the results what they claim. And it has been shown already in the Operation Sindoor. So this is the practice that what Indian Air Force or Indian government, what are the equipments that are produced here? People have not taken them serious. Other countries have not been taking it seriously till the time we produce the desired results and hit all the targets with a pinpoint targets without carrying out any literal damage to any civilians. Pakistan should be clear that Chinese aircrafts on their inventory are not capable of taking on the Indian Air Force inventory, which is a combined of Russian, French, and even UK Jaguars are there. And all the aircrafts have been suitably modified with the EW equipment, because all the wars are new, are a very important. EW equipment is a very, very important aspect of modern warfare. And India is also trying to test their drones, UAVs, which are going to play a major role in the Pakistan war. That should be a clear-cut message from Pakistan. We are strong, and they should not venture out. They should not try anything against India, because that will harm them much more than what was done in the earlier phase.
The exercises would showcase various platforms and weapons that line IAF war machine.
More than 10,000 kgs of explosives will be demonstrated in front of everybody. Now, the attraction definitely is Rafale is our hero of the event, as Vice Chief covered in event last week. And Tejas, Su-30 MKI, Mirage, Jaguar, MiG-29s, and all fleet of Indian Air Force. And helicopters definitely are indigenous, Prashant, then Apache, Chinook, and LH Mark 4, Mi-17, V5, which is a burnt-in operated operations expert. And in addition, the heavy airlift capabilities like C-17 Globemaster, Charlie 130 Super Hercules, and the newly inducted C-295, which is made in India only. Now, the Akash and Spider surface-to-air missiles plus counter unmanned aerial systems will be also demonstrated. So it is a pure grand finale for everything. What is our capability and how Indian Air Force is touching the sky. So it is a full power airfare which is demonstrated in front of everybody, so that people can appreciate Indian Air Force is not only planning or talking, it is able to demonstrate what they plan.
Geopolitically speaking, being the first exercise after Operation Sindoor, it is bound to leave a mark on the Pakistani soil.
Look at the new doctrines of the Indian Air Force, especially if you read the reports about this particular exercise. some of the assumptions under which the Air Force was working last time around, I don't think those apply anymore. And from what we have read and heard about this particular exercise, this time the next offensive will be on the basis of the doctrinal approach of the government of India, which is that there will be no distinction made between terrorists and their masters, which means the Pakistan Armed Forces. So I think both will be taking place, and they will be looking at it very, very carefully.
Special element this year would be the showcasing of Operation Sindoor weaponry, the missiles and the rockets that played havoc with Pakistani targets.
So this is the way, this is one of the procedures or nothing that we revalidate and see whether we are capable or not. And any shortcomings, we try to improve it and do it again. The routine exercise, it shows our air power, it shows our firepower, it shows everything to the world that we are capable, and at the same time, how many aircrafts can we launch. Air Force, any Air Force can have so many aircrafts in the strength, but do they have capability to launch so many aircrafts at one time in the air for our achieving our missions and goals? So this will have an impact and show that Air Force is ready for any eventualities, and a clear-cut signal to both the adversaries in the west and also in the north. The Air Force, Indian Air Force cannot be taken lightly, and what is performing and how it is re-equipping it itself, how we are doing it, other things, and how they are keeping pace with the development in the technology of other air forces.
Witnessing India's air might would be not just those in the forces, but the world, through their ambassadors and defense attaches. The spectacle of integrated high-tempo operations coupled with the stories of skill, discipline and dedication of our air warriors would form an inspirational narrative for young Indians considering service to the nation through the Indian Air Force. By demonstrating the ability to conduct long-range targeting, precision strikes and integrated air defense suppression, the Indian Air Force sends a clear message about its capacity to shape the battle space and deny adversaries freedom of action. While Vayu Shakti showcases globally sourced platforms such as the Rafale and C-17, alongside Russian origin Su-30 MKI and MiG-29s, it would also highlight India's growing indigenous capabilities, most notably the Tejas fighter and the LCH Prachand helicopter, including artilleries like the M777 and surface-to-air guided weapons such as Akash and Spider for layered air defense. This dynamic demonstration not only showcases the IAF's capacity to generate decisive effects across land, sea, air and cyber domains, but also underscores a transformative shift towards self-reliance. With indigenous platforms and homegrown technologies executing complex missions in lockstep with the visionary drive of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Fueled by the uncompromising ethos encapsulated in the core values Achuk, Abhedya or Satik, the Vayu Shakti exercises would project confidence, deterrence and operational excellence.
All right, on to some domestic politics. Only last week we saw DMK strike an alliance with the late Vijayakant's DMDK. On the other hand, we have seen the ruling party in Tamil Nadu keep old ally Congress guessing on seat sharing. The DMK even suggested they do not need Congress, giving the grand old party a bout of self-doubt, with the likes of MP Jyotimani expressing it in public. After all the mind games, it seems the two sides are going to be on talks table. For the DMK, it's seat sharing. For the Congress, it's a wish for power sharing. All happening this coming week in Chennai.
This week, the ruling alliance in Tamil Nadu is all set to go through a stress test.
So, in DVSC
The much delayed seat sharing talks are all set between Congress and the DMK in Chennai. The dialogue comes after much delay and uncertainty. The reasons range from cold calculations to plain mind games. Only last week, the DMK announced alliance with late Vijayakant's DMDK. Even as it keeps Congress waiting.
The Congress party totally dominated Tamil Nadu. Having the Congress party as an alliance gives the DMK a lot of legitimacy and a lot of respectability. At this present time, the DMK has been even getting new allies, DDMK and maybe Paneer Selvam and all these small parties and important individuals. In this scenario, there is speculation. Does the DMK need the Congress? The DMK does need the Congress, and the Congress needs the DMK even more.
The question is, does the Congress need DMK?
For the Congress party, the DMK has been one of the best allies it has ever had. Right now, in the India alliance, there are a number of political parties, and there are 4 chief ministers belonging to non-Congress parties. Of the 4 chief ministers, it is the DMK which is the strongest supporter of Rahul Gandhi and the India alliance. There is no way the Congress is going to let it go. There has been some speculation. The Congress party is demanding a share in power. The Congress party will go with actor TVK. But all of that is really not true. It is just a little bit of drama to create a little bit of tension and to make the public interested in it and the media interested.
This vote transferred math to Congress needing DMK in Tamil Nadu. Of the 41 seats Congress contested in 2016 assembly elections, it only won 8. In 2021, the seats contested were 25, but the wins went up to 18. The strike rate was better in Lok Sabha polls, with the Congress winning 9 of 9 seats it contested in 2019 and 2024.
Congress party in Tamil Nadu has no relevance. It lost its punch long ago. But they are riding on the shoulders of DMK for their secular credentials. My understanding is, till today, Mr. Rahul Gandhi did not speak to Mr. M.K. Stalin for seat sharing. There is no senior leader being deputed to Tamil Nadu to talk to Mr. M.K. Stalin. Like, earlier the case, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Digvijay Singh, but only MLA from Goa has been sent, and Mr. M.K. Stalin feels that is not a match to his stature. Whereas Edappadi Palaniswamy had a meeting with Mr. Amit Shah, Piyush Goyal, all union ministers, and also sat with Prime Minister in a public meeting.
Opposition believes this is desperate bargaining.
Even though the Congress Tamil Nadu unit is vertically split with 2 opinions. One opinion wanted to go with the new party which is being founded by the actor. The other one wanted to continue with DMK. The alliance had hit a rough patch long back, and the cadres of DMK and Congress are like cat and rats on the ground right now. So this is the last minute effort to save in the name of perception politics. In the game of perception, DMK lost the image that they are a formidable, strong ally to the AIADMK and NDA alliance. So going forward, the end is near for DMK. So it could be like Congress wants to save their skin, and there are desperate measures from Congress to look out for other opportunities.
The view of Satya that Congress is vertically split and one section still wants to go with the TVK is seconded by Rajagopalan.
Congress is demanding share in power. Congress is demanding, if DMK comes to power, they want some public sector undertakings to be headed by Congress, and they also go one step beyond for panchayat and municipal quota also. DMK does not want to share power with Congress because they say there is no coalition politics in Tamil Nadu. The talk is stuck, but on 28th of February, there is likelihood of Congress and DMK sitting for a sheriff. DMK wants Congress to give it in writing that they don't want to have a power sharing, then only the talks will commence. There is a hitch, there is a stalemate, but Rahul Gandhi or Mr. Stalin should have a connection, otherwise the Congress-DMK alliance may go for a toss. Congress is also divided. Congress wants to go with Tamil Vetri Kazhagam, that is Vijay Joseph's party. There are contradictions within the Congress. There are misunderstandings between the DMK leaders and the Congress leaders. My understanding is that Congress will take away 25 to 28 seats and be happy with that.
That the alliance was long over, DMK preferring DMDK over Congress.
The DMK and Congress alliance stuck is a last mile effort to save. There is nothing common to discuss about. The DMK gave more priority to a far more lesser party like DMDK to rope in, wherein they kept on silent.
In a salvage operation, Congress High Command has rushed KC Venugopal to troubleshoot ahead of talks.
Tomorrow, the Congress and the DMK will be going on the seat sharing, and especially the power sharing talks looms around it. Expected that the leaders of the Congress, the 5 party members which have been sent by the national team headed by Girish Shodhankar, will be having the talks with the DMK leader, who have been the committee members who have decided to have the seat sharing talks tomorrow. However, the final decision will be made by the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, and the date is coming soon. However, now the Congress and the DMK's power sharing and seat sharing still remains a question. While their alliance is said to be intact by both the leaders, tomorrow's decision would make a great improvement in the alliance talks for the Congress and the DMK.
Looking forward to a significant week in Tamil Nadu politics.
A high-stakes diplomatic moment is unfolding in West Asia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to travel to Israel next week, a trip being described as strategically significant amid growing regional volatility. The defense cooperation remains hush-hush between the two sides. We know the depths of the engagement on this subject. Then there is a big push for the India-Middle East Economic Corridor, the IMEC. Plus, let's not forget a political point Prime Minister Modi is making by visiting Israel amid opposition attacks over his earlier visit. From missile defense to next-generation warfare technology, this week is expected to push India-Israel ties into a new phase, a new trajectory. Here's a closer look at what's on the table.
Who's coming here next week? Narendra Modi. Tremendous alliance between Israel and India, and we are going to discuss all sorts of cooperation. Now, India is not a small country. It has 1.5 billion people. Israel is enormously popular. Enormously popular. Did you know that? Yeah, you do. Good. I'm glad you know it. But I want all of you to know it.
Calling India a gigantic power, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Israel visit next week, signaling a fresh push to deepen strategic ties. After 8 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking his first standalone engagement with the only democracy in West Asia. The visit follows sustained engagement between New Delhi and Tel Aviv on security, counter-terrorism, trade and connectivity.
The citizens of Israel are deeply moved and incredibly excited to welcome Prime Minister Modi once again. In our eyes, this isn't just a diplomatic visit. It's a celebration of a deep, historic brotherhood. The personal trust between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Netanyahu is a strategic accelerator that has officially entered the buyer-seller era. Today, we are not just trading. We are co-developing a digital and strategic Iron Dome and inventing the future on Indian soil. We are ready to share our most sensitive R&D to ensure that together, we don't just follow the future, but we lead it.
Both sides are advancing talks on free trade agreement, while consultations continue on the India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor. The timing is significant, coming amid ongoing tensions in Gaza and rising global security concerns. PM Modi's visit is expected to underline India's role as a steady strategic partner focused on security cooperation, economic expansion, and regional connectivity. India is exploring joint development of anti-ballistic missile defense with Israel, which is the key to Mission Sudarshan. Mission Sudarshan was announced by PM Narendra Modi and is at the heart of anti-ballistic missile defense.
Israel has developed cutting-edge technologies for missile defense, and this has emerged as the most important part of the warfare in the coming years. That will, in fact, in the recent conflict also with Pakistan, we realized, and in the conflicts around the world, the main emphasis has been on strengthening your missile defense and your capability to launch medium-term and long-term missiles. So I think it is in these areas, as also counterintelligence and other defense areas, particularly new and critical technologies, that India's cooperation with Israel is extremely important.
India is looking to buy long-range missiles and loitering ammunition, which can be launched by air, ground, and sea beyond the air defense system of enemy nations. During Operation Sindoor, India used Rampage missiles, Palm 400, Harpy and Harop, kamikaze loitering ammunition against Pakistani targets and nearly wiped out enemies' Chinese-built air defenses with strikes as deep as Islamabad.
You would definitely see that in some of the crucial times of India, during the thick and thin of India, Israel has stood with India. So I would definitely go by the India's national interest. Being a Muslim, I definitely believe that India's national interest comes first. And I could see that a lot of people have been talking about it. And in fact, some of them are opposing PM Modi's visit to Israel. But when it comes to the national interest, I definitely believe that what PM Modi is doing right now is in India's interest. And coming to the defense pacts, India has signed a couple of defense pacts in the past. And in fact, some of the defense deals with India were done. And India also produces some of these Scud missiles for Israel. And Israel also helps India with the technology, as well as with the innovations, and as well as with the defense mechanisms.
Given that PM Modi has close ties with his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu, the two countries are on the same page as a host of political issues and speak in one voice against terrorism.
Deals would be there, a lot of understandings would be there, where we would be developing number of things jointly. These could be in the field of air defense, if keeping in view the Operation Sindoor, when we realized that Pakistan tried to carry out operation with the help of missiles and drones, and we were able to neutralize them with our layered air defense system. However, we cannot live in past glory. We need to keep upgrading, because our adversaries, whether it is China or Pakistan, are also upgrading their system. In view of that, we are looking forward to taking advantage of Israel's expertise in terms of air defense from ballistic missiles.
All eyes on the optics of India-Israel tango this week.
All right, friends, this is what we could pack for you in this edition of Looking Forward. All this is, of course, you should look forward to over the coming week. A short break. News is back on the other side. And tomorrow, 8 p.m. prime time, be there with the editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami for the hottest debate of the day.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
The AI summit is on. The focus is even more on AI, and with this talk of AI boom, jobs going. Vinod.
Hello and welcome. You're watching live and breaking on Republic with me, Ishita Mitra. Now an intruder has been shot dead at Donald Trump's Florida residence. We'll get you all the details on that. But first up, headlines. Eight arrested for hatching a major terror conspiracy links with Pakistan, ISI and Bangladesh under investigation. Three terrorists neutralized in Kishtwar in anti-terror operation. Jaish-e commander Saifullah among the killed. FIR against Swami Avimukteshwar Anand after special POXO court's order. Disciple Mukundanand also named in the FIR. Pakistan strikes border provinces of Afghanistan. Over 20 killed. Taliban warns of calculated response. Stalin government under scanner on multiple scams in Tamil Nadu. Reports claim 7.5 to 10% commission for projects under DMK government. BJP seeks removal of Minister Nehru. Prime Minister Modi targets Congress over shirtless protests at AI summit, says party turned global event into quote-unquote dirty politics. All right, viewers, we've got a big breaking news coming in from the United States. In fact, all right, viewers, we've got a response from India on the tensions flaring up between Pak. And that's another breaking news that has come to light from the US. This is about an intruder that was spotted at Donald Trump's Florida residence of Mar-a-Lago. This intruder was seen carrying a shotgun and a gas can, and he was killed at the perimeter, in fact, by the Secret Service. Now, at the time of the incident, President Trump was not present in Florida. He was, in fact, at the White House with the First Lady Melania in Washington. Now, this man, whose identity has not been revealed yet, was shot dead by the Secret Service agents along with the deputy from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office after unlawfully entering the secure perimeter. Now, the identity of this man has not been disclosed yet by the U.S. Secret Service. And according to a statement from the Secret Service, this incident took place at around 1:30 a.m. local time. This is when this man, who is in his early 20s, was spotted near the north gate of the property. He was seen carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel can. Now, the suspect is a white male in his early 20s and from North Carolina. He was reported missing a few days ago by his family, but the exact identity of the suspect has not been released by the Secret Service yet. All right, viewers, now moving on to another big news. India has now issued a statement on Pakistan's airstrikes on Afghanistan. Now, the statement says, and I quote it, India strongly condemns Pakistan's airstrikes on Afghan territory that have resulted in civilian casualties, including women and children during the holy month of Ramadan. Now, India says it is another attempt by Pakistan to externalize its internal failures. India reiterated its support for Afghanistan's sovereignty, territorial integrity, as well as independence. That's the reaction, the first reaction coming in from New Delhi on the recent strikes conducted by Pakistan on Afghanistan's soil. In fact, the border areas were hit that resulted in over 20 casualties, and now India strongly condemning the attacks and at the same time reiterating its support for Afghanistan's sovereignty, territorial integrity, as well as independence. India has described the latest attack by Pakistan as an attempt to externalize its internal failures. And now we are shifting focus. A special POCSO court in Prayagraj has registered an FIR against a self-styled Shankaracharya Avimukteswaranand Saraswati and his disciple Swami Mukundanand Giri. Now, this order, viewers, follows grave allegations of sexual abuse involving minor children, with stringent sections of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act being invoked. Now, the court's directive paves the way for a formal police investigation, potentially deepening the legal troubles for the religious leader. Take a look at this report.
A special POCSO court in Prayagraj has registered an FIR against self-styled Shankaracharya Avimukteswaranand Saraswati and his disciple Swami Mukundanand Giri. The case was filed at Jhunsi police station in Prayagraj. The court's direction comes in connection with serious allegations of sexual abuse of minor children, invoking stringent provisions under the POCSO Act. Meanwhile, the self-styled godman Avimukteswaranand has rejected the charges, calling them false and politically motivated.
अभी तो जो फर्जी मुकदमा बना करके हमारे ऊपर दायर किया गया है उसकी सच्चाई सबके सामने आएगी,
तभी ऐसा काम करने वाले जो लोग हैं वो दंडित हो सकेंगे। तो इसलिए आवश्यक है, हम यही कहना चाहेंगे कि न्यायालय लंबा समय न लगाते हुए इस पर थोड़ी सी द्रुत गति से काम करे, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों की निगाह इस पर लगी रहेगी। तो जल्दी से जल्दी इस पर गवाही साखी करे और निर्णय करे।
The complainant, Ashutosh Pandey, has welcomed the court order, calling it a step toward justice for the minors.
अब वह दिन दूर नहीं जब ऐसे कुकर्मी, सनातन के नाम पर चोला ओढ़ने वाले ढोंगी लोग जो फर्जी शंकराचार्य अपने आप को लिखते हैं, मैं आज खुली चेतावनी देना चाहता हूँ। अखिलेश जी, आप बहुत चिल्ला रहे थे, चलिए मेरे साथ विद्या मठ पैदल यात्रा हम लोग आज से कर रहे हैं, और पंचम तर पे डिप्टी सीएम साहब आपको भी कह रहा हूँ, मेरे साथ चलिए। वहां पर जो स्विमिंग पूल दिखाऊंगा, वह कमरा दिखाऊंगा जिसमें ये ऐसे करते हैं, वहाँ सखियां रखते हैं, वहाँ बच्चों का कुकर्म करते हैं। सारे एविडेंस वहाँ पे हमारे बच्चों ने छुपा के रख रखे हैं, उसको विवेचना पुलिस के द्वारा निकाल के लाएंगे।
Police further said a case under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act has also been registered against 2 to 3 unidentified persons. The court has now directed the police to probe the evidence, a process that could significantly escalate legal trouble for the religious leader. A revered title under scrutiny and an explosive allegation before the law.
Now, viewers, following the filing of an FIR under POCSO against the self-styled godman Avi Mukteshwar Anand Maharaj yesterday, the Prayagraj police may interrogate the self-styled godman and others who have been named in the FIR. Remember, his disciple and a few unidentified men have also been named along with him in this FIR involving the sexual abuse of minor children, and we are now given to understand that the next step is interrogation. This time, police may question the controversial godman. And now we are shifting focus. The Pakistani Air Force carried out airstrikes targeting a religious seminary in the Barmal district of Afghanistan's border provinces. Now, Pakistani fighter jets launched multiple strikes in the Khogyani district of Nangarhar province, resulting in the deaths of nearly 23 people. The Taliban's Ministry of Defense has condemned Pakistan's airstrikes on parts of Nangarhar and Paktika provinces, calling them a clear violation of their sovereignty as well as territorial integrity. Take a look at this report.
Pakistan is at it again, attacking Afghanistan's madrasas and homes. Ordinary innocent civilians killed to hide its own security failures. On Sunday, Pakistan carried airstrikes on Afghanistan's border areas in Nangarhar, Paktika and Paktikya. Pakistan claims that at least 7 TTP hideouts and camps were hit in the air precision strikes. Pakistan claims that these TTP militants were the ones who planned recent strikes in Islamabad and in northwestern Bajaur and Banu districts in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Dozens have been killed in Afghanistan. An eyewitness says in the overnight strikes, mostly young men, students were killed. All were inside madrasa when the tragedy struck. At least 16 members of a single family were killed in Behesud district.
الله دې تاسو ټول سره کوي چې تاسو به تور شپراله لې او دا کارو به دغه مړي راوځي دا راوځي دا یو کوټه کې ټول ورور مې ټول به دې سره پروت دي دا زین ورته وخای چې وخت دا ټول زین او دا زین ټول زین دا دلته مې خلاص دا خو راوخته دا برانده و دې کې ډاکشن ولا ډاکشن یې تشتري دا کسان اوس پته نه لري دا چته تشتري دې کې دا کومه بل یو نو پرتا دا اوس پته نه لګي چې کوم ځای کې لګا درې مړي تر څلور مړي د بجاو کوي پینځه نو ټول دلته غیب دي وو هم دلته ټول غیب دي.
A day earlier on Saturday, a militant on explosive-laden motorcycle rammed a security convoy vehicle in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. 2 soldiers, including a lieutenant colonel, were killed. This is not the first time Pakistan and Afghanistan have come so close to a full-blown conflict. In October, Pakistan carried out its strikes deep inside Afghanistan. Then, a ceasefire was brokered with the mediation of Qatar. But relations remain strained between the nations, with peace hanging in the balance.
Now, viewers, shifting focus to another breaking news coming in from India's north. A suspected drone is spotted along India-Pakistan international border. This time it is in Kathua. The drones were spotted in Khanwal area of the international border in Kathua, and the drone was in fact spotted at around 8 p.m. this evening. Drone was hovering inside Indian territory for a couple of minutes. We're getting you visuals, in fact, of that suspected drone spotting from Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua. Remember, this took place around the international border at around 8 p.m. this evening. We are given to understand that the drone was inside the Indian territory. It was hovering in the Indian territory for about 2 minutes. Now, we're also being joined by my colleague Gur Simran on this. Gur Simran, do tell us what details do we have about this suspected drone spotting at the India-Pakistan international border?
It was this evening at around 8 when the locals spotted a suspected aerial movement. It turned out to be a suspected drone that was spotted in the Khanwal area. Important to mention that the Khanwal area is along the Indo-Pakistan international border. It is roughly few meters away from the Pakistan area, from where the other side of the enemy territory starts. And this is somewhere, we are told, that 500 to 700 meters from the Pansar, which has been a traditional route of infiltration via tunnels by the Pakistani terrorists, and many of the tunnels have been detected here several times. Now the security forces are carrying out intensified combing and the search operations in the area, because we have seen that the Samba and the Kathua have become a traditional route of infiltration for the Pakistani terrorists to sneak in into the Indian territory. All the attempts have been foiled, but now this drone being seen, whether it was to drop a consignment of narcotics or to drop weapons into the Indian territory, because that has been the trend that has been noticed all along the international border, where Pakistan make desperate attempts. But this in the Khanwal area, it was spotted by the locals, who even made the video, and the security agencies are looking into every possible aspect, including the possible dropping in the area.
All right, Gur Simran, thank you for joining us and sharing that crucial input on this development. Now, viewers, the Maharashtra government has requested Union Home Minister Amit Shah to order a CBI investigation into the plane crash that killed Deputy CM of the state Ajit Pawar last month. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said this on Sunday, addressing a press conference on the eve of the budget session of Maharashtra legislature. Fadnavis said Mahayuti government will ensure that all the doubts regarding the plane crash are cleared. That's a big statement coming in from the Chief Minister of Maharashtra regarding the crash that killed Ajit Pawar. This time, they have recommended a CBI investigation into the Baramati crash that killed Ajit Pawar last month. In fact, the Chief Minister also said that he will ensure that all the doubts regarding the clash are in fact cleared. And now we are shifting focus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the much-awaited Namo Bharat train service and the Meerut Metro today. He also addressed a public meeting and launched projects worth over 12,000 crore in Western Uttar Pradesh as part of centre's broader push to expand rapid rail connectivity, reduce congestion and promote sustainable urban mobility. Take a look at this report.
India's first full-length rapid rail corridor is now fully operational. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the entire 82-kilometer Namo Bharat corridor from Delhi to Meerut, along with the Meerut Metro service. Prime Minister Modi flagged off the train, marking the completion of the 82-kilometer stretch connecting Delhi and Meerut. The corridor, also known as Namo Bharat, was first conceptualized to provide high-speed, comfortable regional connectivity. Meanwhile, Namo Bharat, India's first regional rapid transit system, marks a paradigm shift in urban mobility with a 180 km/h design speed. Prime Minister Modi flagged off the Meerut Metro and Namo Bharat train at Shatabdi Nagar Namo Bharat station. The Prime Minister had laid its foundation stone on the 8th of March 2019. The first 17-kilometer priority section was inaugurated in October of 2023. The service was later extended, reaching Delhi earlier this year. Prime Minister Modi also interacted with students and officials as he undertook a metro ride till Meerut South. With the final 5-kilometer stretch between New Ashok Nagar and Sarai Kale Khan now operational, the entire corridor is complete. The rapid rail system will significantly cut travel time between Delhi and Meerut, boosting daily commuting and regional economic growth. Alongside the rapid rail, the Prime Minister also inaugurated the Meerut Metro, which will operate between Meerut South and Modipuram, covering 21 kilometers and serving 12 stations. With an operational speed of up to 120 kilometers per hour, it is being described as the fastest metro service in the country. The launch of the full Delhi-Meerut rapid rail corridor marks a major milestone in India's